Apple focused heavily on liquid glass during its iOS 26 unveiling last week. And to be fair, so did I. But there are many more awesome features you won't want to miss. The Apple Passwords app is a feature everybody should be using more, and it gets one great new feature in iOS 26, Password History. If you accidentally overwrite your password with one of your security questions, well, you can go in there and figure out what your password was and fix it. As cameras keep getting bigger, it's really easy to accidentally rub your finger over your camera lens, which can lead to blurry pictures. In iOS 26, on iPhone 15 Pro models and later, you'll get a warning if your camera is smudged. You can export your Apple Notes into Markdown, which is really handy for drafting blog posts, or exporting your notes into a plain text format. On iPhone 15 Pro and later, Adaptive Power Mode is a new way to get more battery life out of your phone. It learns your usage habits to dynamically adjust settings like brightness, background processes, and clock speed to get more juice without affecting your daily usage. For years, the iPhone alarm clock has always snoozed for 9 minutes, but finally in iOS 16, you can set a custom snooze length, anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes. For those of you who use a third-party alarm clock app, iOS 26 has a new Alarm Kit framework for developers. This means that third-party apps can still ring your phone and sound the alarm, even when your phone is in silent mode or in a focus mode, just like Apple's own clock app. In iOS 26, your iPhone will send you a notification when your AirPods need charged, and later, again when they're fully charged. In iOS 18 and before, in the Messages app, all you could do was copy the entire contents of a text message. Well, now you have a new Select option, so you can select part of a message to copy, translate, or trigger a web search. Apple also says that there is a new natural language search feature in the Messages app. In the Files app, in the list view, you now have these disclosure triangles, just like on the Mac. This lets you quickly browse through subfolders without entering them one by one. Safari has a bold new look with a super minimal tab bar, but just like before, you can go back to either of the old styles. The bottom tab bar from iOS 15, or the separated top and bottom tab bar from iOS 14 and earlier. And for all of you tab hoarders, you can now sort all of your open tabs by title or by website if you prefer organized chaos. What is often described on social media as Apple's best feature ever, the thing that autofills one-time passcodes from messages and mail, gets even better, because now it supports third-party apps like WhatsApp and Gmail. You can now find your Apple Music replay directly from the Music app. Before, you had to do this complicated dance of signing in separately on the web, whereas now, at the bottom of the Home tab, you can see all of your playlists of previous years, and you can drill into the detailed statistics and see your top artists, songs, and albums of every month. In Settings, General, Screen Capture, you can choose whether screenshots and screen recordings are in HDR for higher dynamic range or SDR for broader compatibility. If you have both a personal and work phone number, you can now create a focus triggered by which SIM you're using. So you can have a work focus that only shows calls and voicemails to your work phone. Similarly, while you're in a personal focus, you can silence those calls. Taking a cue from Overcast, the Apple Podcasts app now has a button you can tap to correct for poorly mixed podcasts, and you can dynamically set the speed anywhere between 0.5 all the way up to 3x speed. When you're placing a phone call, iOS 26 adds a little bit of haptic feedback when the other person picks up, and some haptic feedback when they end the call. If you're running low on storage when it's time for an important software update, iOS 26 can temporarily uninstall some Apple Intelligence features in order to make room for the update. But unfortunately, it does reinstall them when the update is complete. And finally, iOS 26 will let you export your saved passwords and now passkeys to a third-party password manager like 1Password if you want to switch. And those are all of the iOS 26 features we have found so far. Be sure to like and subscribe for more, and check out my other video, which has my hands-on impressions and 1-week review with iOS 26. I'm Griffin Jones with Cult of Mac.